It really surprises me how much Joe has changed his opinion on Jesus and Christianity. Let's take a look at a clip before Wes.
The whole thing's so stupid. Just stop and think how stupid that is. Because Christianity, at the end of the day, with no proof, everything is mythology. Everything. With no proof. With proof, then you examine the proof. It's super simple. And anybody that argues against that is just, you're just biased. You have your own ideas. If you have some proof that there was a God, that this God had one son, and he made this son come down and get the beat out of him and nailed to a board so that we could all have no sin. Can you show me some studies? Do you have a box of evidence that you can pull out and we can examine all the different pieces that points to the undeniable conclusion that that's true? Because if you don't, then it's a myth. Then you're believing mythology. Doesn't mean it's not real, but if you put all your eggs in that basket and you don't have any proof at all, well, you're entering into this weird world where you don't pay attention to. You're entering into this weird world where you ignore certain aspects of things because you've decided what is and what isn't. That's not thinking. That's not thinking. That's like, it's convenient cookie holder placement of ideas. It's not thinking. Because if you're thinking, you can't accept it. If you're thinking, you go, wait, what? He came back from the dead? Has anybody ever done that? 3 days? Came back from the dead. I don't think you can do that. I mean, that's what people would do normally.
You see, in these clips, you can clearly see the disdain that Joe has for Christianity. And I mean, this is like years ago, by the way. I don't want you to get that wrong. However, it's almost like a deep hatred for Christianity for some reason or another. But now, on a recent video that he put out, let's take a look at his response to the question of what does he make of Jesus. So this is after Wes.
In all of this, what do you think of Jesus? Like, in terms of your own, like, journeying and trying to find answers to ultimate questions. What do you think of the historical person of Jesus?
Well, it certainly seems like there's a lot of people that believe that there was this very exceptional human being that existed. So the question is, what does that mean? Does it mean he was the Son of God? Does it mean he was just some completely unique human being that had this vision of humanity and this way of educating people and spreading this ideology that would ultimately change the way human beings interact with each other forever? So what is he the Son of God? Well, are we all? That's another question, right? Do we all have that inside of us? Do we all have that ability to change everything around us inside of us? Do we all have that unique connection to the divine? And is he a representation of the best version of that? Or was he an actual person that was the Son of God? And is it important?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what does it mean? It's just the fact that it's a question to ponder is a miracle in itself, in a way. Just the fact that there's this concept of this person that died for our sins, that's the Son of God. But you have to you have to believe in a bunch of stuff to go that way. Like, just the concept of that is interesting to people, because what it can do to people is offer them a very unique way to change the way they feel about the world itself. And if you do follow that, I know a lot of Christians that are hardcore Christians that are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. So it does work, right? Like, if you do live like a Christian and you do follow the principles of Christ, you will have a richer, more love-filled life. So it is true, right? But you have to submit to this concept that this guy was the child of God who came down to earth, let himself be crucified, came back from the dead, explained a bunch of stuff for people, and then said, all right, see you when I come back.
And you don't know how you can wrap your head around that particular claim.
And if he came back, here's the thing. If he came back, who the fuck would believe him today? With all the fake news and all the CGI and AI, like, imagine. That would be the most bizarre thing of all time. If we get to a point where artificial reality is indiscernible from regular reality, and Jesus chooses to come back at that moment, boy, that's the ultimate test of faith. right? When it's impossible to discern. If we really reach a point where virtual reality is indistinguishable from regular reality, which
Right.
we're probably 100 years away from that or something. Like how far, maybe not even that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's probably why Jesus came in the first century and not the 21st century.
But imagine if that's the big catch. Like Jesus does return, but when he returns, we're just so confused.
You know, when Joe is asked this question, it's interesting that obviously you don't see that same anger that he had before. He's not closed-minded to the idea that there could be something to Jesus, to Christianity. He does leave it very open-ended, right? Talking more about the effects that Jesus has in people's lives compared to before, where he's pretty much bashing Christians, saying they're stupid, and he admits it himself that they're one of the nicest people that he has ever met. And this brings me hope that maybe one day Joe will see the light of who Jesus was and who he claimed to be. And who knows, maybe he will turn Christian one day. But it just speaks to his growth as a human being, right? I think that Joe, at a minimum, is more open to consider things now than he was maybe back then. And I think that as we all get older and we encounter more people, we realize that there's a lot more that we don't know than what we do know. And I think that when we are younger, right, we really do think that we know everything, right? And just seems like over the years, Joe has really come into the understanding of the limitations that he has in the knowledge that he keeps. So, I mean, pray for Joe. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you thought about the interview. Was there anything in this conversation that surprised you? And as always, just want to remind you that we must persevere. Peace.